Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
I am George Luna.
And I'm Brittany Pacheco, and we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to another edition of the Watchers in the Basement. The boys are back, and so are we to talk about it. Guys, it's been a long time since we've seen this show. The last episode of season 2 of The Boys aired in October of 2020. October 9th to be exact. So, yeah, it's been way too long. So, we were more than happy to get the 3 episodes on June 3rd. And actually, here's a tip for everybody, and we noticed this a while back. With Amazon content, usually the night before their premiere date or release date, the content's already on there by like 7 or 8 o'clock at night Central Standard Time. So,
yeah,
just a little pro tip there for you. So,
shout out Justin for figuring that out, because
real.
I remember like the first season he told us that. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can't believe they keep doing that, but I love it. It's awesome because especially this time, because there were 3 episodes. I didn't watch all 3 right away. I know Brittany did.
I did.
So yeah, y'all did.
I did.
Okay. So let's get into it. What are your overall thoughts of the first 3 episodes of season 3 of The Boys?
Britt,
I'll go to George.
Okay, man. Honestly, it's pretty. The first episode was already crazy, just right out the bat. Like the shit we see there. I don't even want to get into it. Just like some of the shit was disturbing, man. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
What is going on through the head of the people that made this show?
I don't know. It's yeah.
But I wonder if those very disturbing parts are also off of like comics, because obviously the comics in itself are very adult.
Yeah.
Very,
I mean, fuck. But the fact that you had someone like who's like that was a part of your job, was to create a big magnified like social version of a dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that is your job.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So on that note real fast, and then we can talk more in general about The Boys. That scene in itself, I laughed so fucking hard about this soup.
I didn't know whether
termite. I laughed, and here's the thing: I knew I was a horrible person because I laughed, because termite, shrinks down to itty bitty Ant-Man size, and climbs up into dude's junk and
his dick hole. Let's just say
his dick hole. Yeah.
And if you want to be nice, his pee hole. If you want to be technical, his urethra. But yeah, it happened. And
his dick hole. Yeah. And then he sneezed.
And
the dude blew up. I laughed
at
hard.
That. I laughed at that part. I laughed at so many fucked up things. But
yeah,
when I saw it happening, I was like this. I was like,
yeah,
like what is happening? I thought he was gonna go up his butt or something.
That's what I thought too, because you see the guy take his pants off, and he's like, "I need you inside me." So that's exactly. Yeah. But see, I thought that what happens to the guy getting exploded from the inside, I thought that was going to happen either way. I had no idea he was going to enter through.
Not that way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, I knew I was a horrible person because I laughed, but I rank that up there with the dolphin being run over by a semi, and then also from Game of Thrones, George's favorite death scene of the bell, taking out all those people. Like I ranked that death, or that really bloody explosive death, way up there. I laughed. I mean, I figured y'all may not necessarily laugh because that's something very personal and close to y'all.
I was just like stunned, because when it happened, and then like of course he just did coke before he went in there.
Yeah.
And then he's about to sneeze, and I'm like, oh god, I know what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
And then it happens right away. The guy, like half his body's just gone. He's dead. But let's talk about it. So this one. This scene, obviously, for shock value wise, was very high. Do you think it's the most shocking scene on The Boys? Because you mentioned the dolphin, you mentioned there's the whale in season 2. I mean,
I think this was the most shocking because I did not expect that. That's one of the most shocking scenes I've ever seen on TV.
I mean, the first scene on the show on episode 1, whenever Robin is when A-Train runs through her.
Yeah, that was surprising. Like, honestly, yeah, I'll give it to that because I didn't know what the show was about and everything. But now the bar is like ridiculously like, what is this?
But that's what I like so much about The Boys is the fact that nothing's off limits. You know, they go for it, they go big, they go home, no pun intended. But the fact that like nothing is off limits. The fact that, you know, you had like a jumbo, you know, dick in your face, and then you see someone explode from the inside out, you know, from that, it was insane. But like, I love this show just because of the fact that it pushes the bar, right? I know a lot of people leave comments on Amazon Prime saying like, oh, it's so political, it's this and that. Yeah, it is political, but like at the same time, it's so relatable because of the things that we deal with, you know, in our own everyday lives, minus the superheroes. But it's just good. It's good storytelling, and it leaves you wanting more. It leaves you guessing. Like, you would have never expected someone to go out the way that they did in that first episode. I love this fucking show. I was so happy when, you know, it's like, okay, for one, how are we already in June? I still am processing, you know, March 2020, but like the fact that we're in season 3 of The Boys, got 3 episodes, and those episodes did not disappoint. Like, real quick, I'm not very ecstatic about Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is, you know, airing simultaneously, but like this show, I'm here for it. Like, I will go and rewatch it just because I can. You know, it's so good.
I think with this show, to me, what makes it so special is because it's parody, but it's parody that's better than like the source material, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's parodying like the MCU and DC and these different superheroes, but the way they do it, it's honestly more entertaining and interesting than the actual Marvel characters or the actual Superman and the DC characters.
Yeah.
So they kind of pull it off on both fronts. And like with the political stuff, it's like they really just make fun of everything and everybody. I mean, if you really like get into it, like there was, you know, at Votland, you have like the Brave Maves, like
inclusion,
King of Inclusive, and then they have like they had BLM,
BLTs,
woke
walk.
And then later on, of course, they make fun of the gun convention, which, you know, in reality, you know, we had a gun convention here in Houston just a few weeks ago, and there was a pageant at the gun convention for women for concealed carry. That's a real thing.
Oh.
That's something you would see in The Boys, but that really happened in real life. So this show is just like it's a parody of what's going on in our world, and it's a parody of these superhero properties. But to me, it's better than all of them. I mean, not to mention, I think the world they've created looks so good. And Brittany, like you're talking about Obi-Wan, the problem I have with the Obi-Wan show is that it looks like actors on a soundstage. It looks fake. I know Star Wars isn't real, but the world they create in that show looks like a soundstage, you know, in California somewhere.
Yeah.
Whereas this show,
quite as believable. Yeah.
The quality of this show is so high. Like that's why I say like the only show I can really compare it to. I mean, I think there's shows like Succession. There's shows like that I think are like top notch. But when you get into like this fantasy superhero thing, the only thing that compares to it was Game of Thrones. Like in the level of like what every episode was, the way it looked, the time spent with it. It's like, you know, this show, they dropped 3 episodes. I wish they would have dropped 1 because like there's so much to talk about in one episode of The Boys. You know, like
there is.
Honestly, one a week is enough for me because it's like almost too much to watch 3 episodes and to kind of do a podcast about 3 episodes because there's 10 scenes that are amazing that we can break down and spend 20 minutes talking about. So
for sure.
So it's amazing. I think it's the best show on TV, honestly.
It's really good, and I like the fact that, you know, the way that they picked up from the ending of season 2. You know, the season 2 ender was Stormfront is, you know, basically charred, and Ryan, you know, Ryan's mother, Becca, you know, who's all Billy Butcher's wife, dies, and it picks up almost immediately from there, because we know that in season 2 they were filming Dawn of the Seven, which is kind of like that parody of Avengers and that kind of thing. And so,
Well, really, it's a parody of the whole Snyder Cut stuff.
Yeah.
well, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Because-
you're right.
yeah.
It is. It's a
Because you
parody
had
of the
the-
Snyder Cut,
Yeah.
because they did talk about hashtag release the Bork cut,
The
which I
Bork
thought was
cut.
so silly.
Yeah.
But the fact that they recast Stormfront with Charlize Theron,
That was so
which is
funny.
so funny to me, obviously, because spoiler, y'all, if you haven't seen Doctor Strange,
Spoiler.
sorry, George. Sorry, George. There, Charlize is also in
A post-credit scene,
a
though.
post-credit scene.
Honestly,
Okay,
George,
he didn't hear anything. No, we're good. So anyway, the fact that like
but
we
real,
got
real
her,
quick, honestly, George, you won't like. I'd never heard of the character. No one's ever heard of the character. It's a post-credit scene at the very end.
It's not a
Like,
big deal.
Okay.
it's kind of
It's not a
cool,
big
but
deal.
like, it has
Um,
nothing to do
It's-
with the movie. It doesn't
It's just
affect
kinda
the movie
funny.
at all.
Yeah. By the way, I've decided to not watch the movie until it comes out on Disney Plus. Like,
Well,
it's about to
good
come
if-
out the end of the
Like
month.
2
so,
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
in a couple weeks. Yeah. So anyway, so like I said, we've got Charlize Theron, who's, you know, playing Stormfront, and you know, they're the premiere of this movie and what have you. One thing too that I really liked, how we're seeing more of Victoria Newman, who's the congresswoman who, you know, was all about the roping in the soups who do bad things and what have you. And then obviously we know at the end of season 2, she's also a soup who pops people's heads off. And I'm glad we got answers about her background pretty quickly. There is a dude who's kind of following her around, calling her Nadia. It turns out that this dude, Tony, and Victoria Newman, quote unquote, Nadia, grew up at Red River. Red River is a soup orphanage, which I like that tie-in
From the
to
cartoons.
from the animated series Diabolical, which I think is very well done when you can kind of tie in these two separate series into the same storyline, if you will. And so this orphanage, if you will, is home to soups who maybe their powers aren't the best. I told Justin about this. I don't know if you caught this, George, but Madeline Stillwell's son is at Red River.
No,
The
I didn't. Which
the-
kid
the-
was it?
the teleporter.
He's
Really?
the one that points out Huey on the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we know that's her son?
Because
They
the
name
woman,
check him.
yeah, the
Really?
woman calls him Teddy Stillwell.
Yeah.
Ah, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I had to do the rewatch, and then I caught it. I was like, oh my god, like he's a soup. So it's like, so was he lab grown like Homelander, or was he an actual born baby and then they just injected him with compound V? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Who knows?
And I only say that because in the next episode, in the second episode of season 3, it's Homelander's birthday, and
Oh my
you
god.
know,
That's-
that whole storyline was insane, because the fact that, for one, why is Stormfront still alive? Like, why is Vought still keeping her alive after all this shit?
Yeah.
Like,
I think that was Homelander's call. Like, I think he cared about her and he still wanted her in his life for some
I
fucked up
mean-
reason.
she did things to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Hand things.
Hand things. She was doing hand things
But-
to him, but like, so strange.
When she said, "No one suffers like you,"
I know, and she's like barely alive. I know, it's so funny, like, because he's there complaining about everything, and she's like half a body in a bed, and like
burnt to pieces, burnt
Yeah.
to a crisp.
right, she's
Yeah.
like, poor you. It's so no one suffers like you. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And
It's
she
great.
still has that whole, you know, Nazi propaganda mentality, you know, still
Yeah.
wanting to bring Homelander to be the forefront of this Third Reich
Right.
mentality. Is so crazy to me. But anyway, yeah, so I was a little surprised that she's still alive. You know, Vought was still keeping her alive, but that she decides that she's gonna kill herself on Homelander's birthday.
Wow.
Thoughts on all of that, just with the fact that he's supposed to schedule a save, like he's gonna save someone's life on his birthday for one, and then she turns around and like kills herself on his birthday.
Well, she didn't kill herself. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought you meant the girl that jumped off.
Not the girl that
I was
jumped
like-
off the ledge. No.
I was like, that was dark, man. Like,
that was very
was-
dark, extremely.
That was
But
up
I'm talking.
there.
But I'm talking about Stormfront biting off her tongue and then killing herself.
Oh yeah. No, she
I was
definitely did that.
I was like, oh my goodness. Homelander is losing his mind, obviously, in this season. And let me just say, Antony Starr is a phenomenal Homelander. Like, I will say, just like there can be no other Iron Man other than Robert Downey Jr., there can be no other Homelander other than Antony Starr. Like,
Yeah, totally.
the level of performance this man brings is incredible. Like,
Yeah,
the
I
anger.
agree.
He's not gonna stop playing the role, right? Because I know he got in some trouble recently.
Yeah, so
He was
he
too
got
into
in.
character or something.
I think he got a little wasted, and probably just it got the better of him. He's kind of pulling an Ezra Miller a little bit, but yeah, that got sorted out in Spain. But
Okay.
yeah, Antony Starr was channeling maybe a little bit too much Homelander
Yeah.
in that situation.
But am I the only one that thinks that he's gonna completely lose his mind this season? Like
Oh no, he's gonna lose it.
probably like foreshadowing what happens in the movie, like the city's gonna like burn down or something. I can see him doing that.
Yeah, I think that the character like emotionally is all over the place. Like it's so weird how he's so powerful, but he's still beholden to this company. And I mean, he could just do whatever he wants, and then he kind of realized that, he had, during his birthday special, which by the way was simulcast on VBS and VNN and VTV for women and Vot Soul and Vatamundo. Can't forget that one.
Vatamundo.
I love all the tie-in stuff. The that are thrown in. I like the products. I love all that stuff.
Mhm.
But so he's on this. He has this birthday special, and he he breaks script and he just says like, look, like, y'all are not the real heroes. I'm the real hero. Like y'all need me to save you. And you can tell like of that. And then he gets this response but it's still like, the show, they talk about how like his ratings are down in the beginning, right? His ratings are down and Starlight's have gone up. So Starlight's going to be the co-captain because she has this huge Q rating and people like her.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so worried about that, throughout the show, he's worried about how people perceive him and his ratings and whatever. And then like after he gives that speech in episode 2, in episode 3, he's like thrilled when Ashley tells him like, you're up like 20 points. And
oh yeah, he was up.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god. Yeah.
You and Starlight combined have like the highest Q rating ever. And like, then he concocts this idea of like, okay, so she's been forced upon me as the co-captain. So then now I'm going to come out and say that we're a couple now or whatever, which there's just so much to talk about. Like, to me, every character has something going on. That's also something special about this show. No character is just like left off to the side. Every single character has an interesting storyline. Okay, who does?
I disagree. The only one right now is Maeve, Queen Maeve.
Well, but okay,
it's been 3 episodes though.
Yeah,
I mean, she was only brought in the first one because she tipped off Butcher about termite, and then she. I'm getting ahead of myself, but like she brings the V24, which is the 24-hour version of Compound V, to Butcher to fight off, these other soups, and then like we don't hear from her ever again.
Well, we haven't heard from her since.
At least not right now. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but I think we will.
Yeah, and I think the fact that she's tipping off the boys and she's giving Butcher this drug, that's a pretty big role. And obviously she has a reason, because her hatred for Homelander, but that is interesting. But I mean, like all the boys, all the characters have something going on that is interesting that doesn't have to do with the main storyline per se, except for, well, maybe not Butcher, but Butcher's like one of the main characters. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's so well done with all the actors and the characters, and it's honestly like there's so much to talk about, like in one episode, and we're trying to do 3 today. So this is kind of impossible. Like I have all these notes, but it's like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the show. The show is just like off the rails, and it's like I've said before. It's all go. There's no stops in this show. Like
Mhm.
this show could easily be many, many, many seasons, but they just plow through stuff and just keep going at this breakneck speed. And so far there's been 19 episodes of The Boys total, and I think they're 19 for 19. I think they're pitching a perfect game. It's incredible how good the show is.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and like, I think you make a good point about like every character's storylines. Like, I'm going to bring back Victoria Newman into this. The fact that, we thought that she was just a normal human, if you will. Turns out she's a pretty powerful soup. She can pop people's heads off. And then we find out that she's quote unquote Stan Edgar's daughter,
like basically daughter,
like basically his daughter. And so that explains the pull that he would have in Congress, and how they kind of keep each other in check. She has to call on him to clean up her mess when she kills Tony, because he's basically outing her for who she really is in so many words. And it's just so interesting how everyone's like connected in some kind of fashion. And the fact that Vought is the big bad, the whole company itself is the big bad. It's marketed as a superhero company, but really it's a pharmaceutical company that, wants to fuel the military and make their soldiers into super soldiers, basically. And it's just so insane. And even with Grace Mallory, who is the CIA op who is affiliated with the Boys, and she's even got her hands dirty with Vought, if you will, from way back in the day. And she kept that information away from the Boys as well. It's you're right, Justin. Every character really does have a very interesting story, and it all plays out well. And that's what I mean by the show just has good storytelling. It's entertaining as hell, but it's good storytelling.
And the thing that I find really interesting about this season, and I guess I kind of forgot about it from last year, is like, okay, so the 7 is supposed to be like the Justice League, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then also in this Vought universe, they have Payback, which is like an Avengers style, group that has like a Captain America knockoff with Soldier Boy as the leader. And to me, it's just so interesting that like this one company would have these like Payback was this older super group, and then the 7 kind of overtook them. And to me, that's just so interesting to be able to have a Captain America and a Superman like character. And it appears that they're either going to face off or team up or something in this season. That's exciting for me, because like, this is like a crossover that you wouldn't really see anywhere else. So
No, you're right. It's kind of like the whole out with the old, in with the new kind of thing, because again, this whole superhero thing, it's marketing. It's, if your numbers don't sell, then they're just going to phase you out and bring in new people. I mean, look what they're doing with this reality show about American Hero to bring in new blood for the 7, which was different than how, like, for example, Starlight got into the 7. She like interviewed and all that other stuff, and then she was brought in. Now they're doing like this reality TV show where her ex-boyfriend is a contestant and a couple of other people are contestants, and she's being told as co-captain that she gets final say on who gets to be part of the 7. She wants to do good. She wants to actually be a superhero and do superhero things. And Homelander's like, no, we're going to bring back the Deep. I think that's going to be great. No one's going to see that coming. We're going to bring back the Deep. And I'm like, what the hell? They're going to bring back the Deep, as fucked up as his whole, storyline has been. By the way, R.I.P. Timothy. That was rough.
Jeez, I never felt so sorry for a little tiny octopus. I was like, wow, I do not want to eat an octopus anymore.
Oh, he's like, was it Midshu? He's praying. He's praying.
Oh man, poor guy.
Oh man, yeah, poor Timothy. So yeah, like these kind of twists and turns, and Homelander's just the asshole that like is controlling everything. And even when Starlight wants to say like, hey, do I need to remind you about Flight 37 and like what you did, and if we publish that you lose everything, and he's like, yeah, go ahead and do it. I'm going to take out the White House, I'm going to take out the Pentagon, I'm going to take out infrastructure, internet, like do it. I'm just going to wipe out New York just for the hell of it. I dare you, do it. I'm like, fuck, this dude is going to lose his mind.
And see, that leads me to a question that I don't have the answer for yet. Maybe y'all can help me with this. So if the video from that flight from season 1, I believe, or maybe it's season 2, if that's what they're holding over his head, like what else does Stan Edgar have to control Homelander besides that video? What else do they have to hold him? I mean, what would keep him from doing what he said?
I mean, so something Huey had said once he realized who Victoria Newman actually is, she's Soup, because Victoria knew about Ryan's whereabouts, Homelander's son.
Yeah.
Then that would mean Stan Edgar would know. And there was a deal that was made, right, between Butcher and Stan Edgar that, you wouldn't have Ryan, or I don't know. There was something to do with Ryan, like keeping Ryan safe away from Homelander. And maybe that would be the other thing to keep Homelander in check is like, if you do all this shit, like you're going to lose Ryan. Like you're never going to see him again. And if Homelander actually has any sort of affection towards his own son, who's his only family, like maybe that would be the only kind of leverage he has.
But he is looking for him, because one of the better scenes in these first 3 episodes was when Homelander shows up at Butcher's house, which I thought that was a very interesting scene. George, what was your take on that interaction?
It was interesting. I thought he was like having visions or something, that he was just imagining that he was there, and then he actually had, because later on we do see him like talking to Homelander on the TV and stuff, and he's kind of like hallucinating, but that's later on. Yeah. So when this first happens, I was like, oh, maybe it's not real. But it is a real conversation, and he comes in and they talk to each other. And basically Homelander wants him to kind of like, they kind of have their interests are aligned, and they want to take down Vought.
But
yeah, it's like they're gonna take down Vought, but they're gonna also take down each other in the process.
In the process of that.
Yes. Yes, because they each want each other, not in that kind of way, but like they want to take out each other for their own reasons.
Yeah, but it's funny that Butcher gets the 24-hour V, like the whatever that new one is called.
V24. So it's a temporary compound V that supposedly will last for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Do y'all think it's actually going to last for 24 hours with Butcher? Because
it's still like a research thing, right? Like we don't know.
It's still in research and development.
We don't know. Like he could probably die from it. We have no idea.
Yeah.
And the very fact
that he received multiple vials of it also.
Yeah.
He received 3.
There's that. Yeah.
4?
Right.
Yeah. 3. He received 3.
Okay.
So
gone.
One's gone, exactly. We saw the kind of powers that he possessed. He is very strong, bulletproof. As we saw, he knocked the shit out of gunpowder, and then has the laser eyes, which he seems to have difficulty controlling.
So would the powers vary by the person, like it, or does it vary by the chance? Like every time you take it, you get something different.
We'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah, it's not really clear. Like even with the soups, like the real soups or whatever, like their powers are not the same. They all have different powers, and I think it's all based on.
That's why I was curious, like if it's like based off person, like every person, or how that works.
Yeah, because when Compound V news broke out, Deep was talking about he was about 9 years old when his abilities started coming into fruition, and so it probably would vary. But yeah, it's a good question of whether or not, I would imagine if Butcher takes the V-24 again, it's going to be the same, powers again. But I'm curious if any other of the boys will be taking Compound V and what kind of powers they may get. You know what I'm saying? That'd be really interesting to see. And is this something that Butcher's going to want to give up? You get that little bit of power, and if that's going to be the difference between beating Homelander and not, you might not want to give that up.
So I was thinking, like, there has to be a side effect to this, and we kind of see it, like, when Butch is like a huge dick to his, like, to the boy, to Homelander's son. Like, I don't understand, like, why he got so upset, or like why he was being that way, like, about it. And the son recognized it, like, he could tell something was up with him, like, because he held him really strong, and he knew any normal person would, like, know, like, oh shit, like, that's not supposed to happen.
Right.
So I'm just curious, like, what do you guys think? Like, why did he act that way towards him when he was being, like, he obviously cares about the kid?
I think there's a couple possibilities. So for one, obviously Ryan being a soup himself, he can sense, he said he could smell there was a difference in Butcher's blood and his heart rate and that kind of thing, which is very similar to what Homelander can do. But I think the reason why Butcher was being a dick towards Ryan is to cut off any ties, cut off any, like, in other words, if something were to happen, to Butcher, Ryan wouldn't feel like he's losing another parent. You know what I'm saying? He's already lost one parent. So, like, if Butcher's just being a dick to him, it's to protect him in a weird way.
That's pretty dumb.
Because I think he was trying to explain that to Huey, and Huey kind of like stopped him. He's like, no, I get it. He's like, the others don't get it, but like, I understand it. And then that's when Butcher vomited all over him. But I think that's probably the main reason is you're going to hurt Ryan so that he doesn't feel anything towards you. And then you can move on to do the things that you needed to do without feeling so attached.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty stupid. I think that's a pretty terrible way to go about it.
Yeah. It's like he was pushing him away to protect him or something. I know, I understand what Brittany's saying. That's what I thought too. But the part y'all brought up about the kid thinking that Butcher has superpowers or whatever, I didn't really pick up on that. So that's good. I'll have to rewatch that and think about that, because I don't think I really noticed.
It was multiple times when he was there. Like, he noticed something. Like, as soon as he got there, like, he's like, something's up. Like, he pushed, like, he held them.
Like, when he hugged him, like when he first saw him and he hugged him, he's like, hey, are you okay? Like, something seems different, because I'm sure if you're bulletproof, like, you're not going to be as soft and squishy as, like, non-bulletproof people. But like, yeah, you're right, George. Ryan picked up on it pretty quickly, and I think he's got the same abilities like his dad to read heart rates and blood pressure and all that other stuff. And Ryan for sure picked up on that with Butcher. And I really do think Butcher is just trying to protect Ryan, but he's going to be an asshole about it because Butcher's an asshole. That's very true to his character. But then also at the same time, the other reason why he never wanted to have kids, because he said he wasn't a good role model. So maybe he's going to kind of justify that as well. I don't know. But to me, it just seems like he's just protecting Ryan, and he's just going to be a dick about it.
You know who we haven't talked about yet, which I'd like to get into, is A-Train's storyline.
God.
Which is crazy how he's trying to pivot his career now that he can't run like he used to, because basically he's playing Russian roulette with his heart. And he's just trying to, like, cement himself into, like, the culture, like, kind of doing all these things just to stay relevant. And it's funny to see that when he can literally just, like, live a normal life and just be there for people or do things for people, in a meaningful way. I don't know what you guys think about A-Train's storyline or where it's gonna go.
Yeah, he's trying to rebrand himself. That's his big thing, and he's like, he's got a
the
new suit.
killed me.
Yeah,
It reminded me of the shirt that Frank wore that day with the scarf when we did the Black Panther shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, but the suit was like the suit is entirely.
What's it called? The daishiki.
Yeah.
Daishiki. Yeah. Yeah. So A Train, A Train just recently came back into the 7 as well, and the rebrand is, I guess, necessary because he can't run, like you said, George. He's playing Russian roulette with his heart. Apparently, he's still consuming 30,000 calories a day, even though he's not working out. He's just getting chunky.
Oh my god, that's another thing. Homelander just like calling him fat and like just making fun of this guy destroying him, and you know it's getting to him.
Oh, yeah. I know. And I'm like, dude, go on with your bad self. Drink that Shake Shack because that stuff's good. But I think what killed me more so was having Seth from marketing pitch, all this new rebranding stuff to Ashley. And Seth's over here like, God, you're such an embarrassment to the Black community. And what killed me, honestly, George, was like the video game. It was the video game of the slave trade, and fucking A Train's all like, yeah, for the Gen Zers, they get to do this, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
No, the line that killed me was when A Train like told him, he's like, that's why your dick got like blown off or something.
He's like, yeah, well, you don't have a dick. Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm like, oh, he went there.
Yeah.
But the fact that like his brother who was his trainer, basically just told him straight up, like, you could do good and do more for the community if you're here in the community. And it was kind of, to me, I feel like maybe I'm reaching, but like kind of Falcon, what we saw with Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah. So like, obviously that's a completely separate storyline, and the complications of being Captain America and finding out there was a Black Captain America obviously had, caused some waves. But with like A Train, he's used to a certain lifestyle, being in the 7 and doing all the things and having all the things. And I think it's good for his brother to kind of humble him and be like, listen, you are part of the 7, but you still can do more here in the community. And like all these other fucking superheroes like don't do shit, be that difference. So maybe that
tell it hasn't hit him yet. It hasn't. He's not. I mean, maybe he will go that direction later in the season, but he's not there yet.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. But yeah, the the rebranding of his costume. Wow. Wow. Not not sure how that's gonna go.
Let's talk about Huey. I think that's an interesting character for this. It's interesting. The beginning of it, it's a spotlight on his relationship with Starlight, and it's funny how they did like a role reversal. They show him and like he's the weak person in the relationship. Like he can't open up jars, and they show him like he's on the exercise bike and he's doing exercise, and she's like the strong person and she's going to work, whatever.
Yeah.
And then of course the stuff with Newman where he works for her. He has no idea that she's a soup. By the way, I thought honestly, like last season, I wasn't sure she was a soup. I thought maybe she was like an alien or something. I thought she was like an outside entity that we didn't know about, but turns out she's a soup. Anyway, so he doesn't know that she's a soup. He's working for her. He gets along with her. That's his boss. And And one thing that I don't understand in this show so far is why does Newman always want to eat his food? That happens a couple times in the first episode. It's like I don't understand why she's always like eating his food. It's very weird.
I think it's a power play.
I guess so. I was like, is this going to have a payoff down the road or something? I don't know. It just seemed like a weird, like quirky thing to include.
That is kind of weird.
I think it's a power play.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's no other explanation that I could offer other than, she's Congresswoman. She started, this whole federal Bureau for Superhuman Affairs, with Huey, and it's kind of like I'm in charge. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
I guess that's what
all
it is. Okay.
But yeah, Huey, I think I actually really enjoy his character development so far. You know, wanting to get past the whole Robin thing, and then he started off with the boys, and then he's like, you know what, I want to try to do straight and narrow kind of thing, and then he's like, nope, that doesn't work. We're going to go fuck shit up with Butcher and the boys. By the way, he's starting to look a lot more like his dad, Dennis Quaid. Sidebar. I'm just flabbergasted as to how much he's starting to look like his dad. But anyway, no, I really like the fact that, you know, we're starting to see more of his struggles with his relationship with Starlight, because like I mentioned earlier, her ex-boyfriend is on that show, and to bring a new or a couple members into the Seven, and Huey obviously clearly feels very threatened, you know, by Supersonic. Supersonic, is that his name?
Yeah, Supersonic. Yeah.
And he just seems very, you know, like, okay, like, this is my girlfriend. It's like, dude, you do not know yet what Homelander has said about him and Starlight. Like, that's gonna be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Because did it feel like Huey just kind of left Starlight high and dry, kind of like, hey, you know, you still have to play the game, basically. Like, you don't have a choice. You have to play the game.
Yeah.
Or am I wrong in saying that?
No, I think it's just that there is no choice. Like, you know, like she's in the Seven. She's a co-captain. She has to stick it out. And, you know, she, with her being in that position, she obviously is privy to a lot of information they need, you know, because when Huey rejoins the boys, he realizes that, like, look, trying to do it the right way. There is no right way. Vought controls everything. So you've got to do it Butcher's way. So I thought that was very interesting. And the last thing I want to say about Huey, and because it's such a crazy scene, what did y'all think about the scene where Kamiko breaks his arm?
Oh,
that was one of those scenes where I was like, oh, I couldn't really watch it. Like, it was like,
that one didn't freak me out as much. I was
really,
I was like, oh, okay. After seeing a giant dick and getting a man getting blown up, a broken arm's not that bad.
Yeah, John got a little like squirmy when he was watching it, and he's just like, yeah.
I did too, because it's just like
we give it to Huey. He commits.
It's because that's more realistic of like a break.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? Like, that looked like
sure.
something you might see like in a sporting event, like with somebody's leg or something in football. But
yeah,
I don't know. It got me.
One thing I want to talk about, and this, I don't know how long this will take. It might take us to the very end, but I like the fact that MM is getting a more central storyline.
Yep. It's about
because I mean, I really like him as a character. I like I still can't believe he was in Fast and Furious. That still blows my mind that he was Phoenix. Yeah, he was in the Fast and Furious. He was in the fourth one.
Yeah, he was the villain. Yeah.
He was the villain in the fourth one with Braga.
He has like a mohawk. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's him.
That's him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
I mean,
it's crazy.
The Fast franchise has like, it's almost like the MCU. Almost everybody's in the Fast franchise.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't I didn't recognize. I think the hair definitely threw me off. I just thought that was like, oh, it's just a Dominican guy, and that they got for this role or something.
No, and also that movie was
Afro-Cuban. He's Afro-Cuban. I mean, for real, he really is.
That movie was also like in 2008 or something, right? It's been a while. Yeah.
Anyway, sidebar. The fact that like MM's getting a central storyline, and it's picking up with the little bit of information we learned about his father having, you know, died, more or less being obsessed with, you know, taking down Soups, Vought, what have you. And I didn't fully understand what he meant by the illness that passed on to MM. Not so much the obsessive compulsive disorder thing, but ignoring his child, you know, and that was very clearly stated when he's, you know, obsessing over Soldier Boy and the possibility of him being central to maybe taking down Homelander, and that's reopening a wound, a very deep wound for MM and his family. Yeah. But also how that could have easily turned into him completely forgetting about the wellness of his daughter, you know, with the fire alarm going off. But I like that we're getting more info about MM and like who he is and like why he is the way that he is. And even just to see how pissed off he was about Grace Mallory and her hand in handing out drugs to, you know, low socioeconomic neighborhoods, you know, to what do you call it? Demoralize, destabilize, and that kind of thing, but stay out of the white neighborhoods. And it's just like, yeah. Yeah, that hit that hit home for MM, obviously. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm really excited to see, just because we have hints of Soldier Boy. I keep saying Soldier Boy like a freaking idiot. Soldier Boy.
Right. Soldier Boy, tell.
Crank that. But we got hints, you know, flashbacks like what we saw in the trailer. Same, you know, with Crimson Countess, even though she's working at Votland and things like that. So, you know, we're getting hints, and it sounds like we're going to be heading to Russia, which is very Winter Soldier, you know, like, in my opinion, you know, with the all the Winter Soldiers who were, you know, popsicles in Serbia or something like that. So,
well, the Votland thing about Soldier Boy was very much like Captain America Winter Soldier. You know what I'm saying? Like the little montage they have about Soldier Boy's life and how he grew up as a poor kid in Philadelphia, and you know, like even the scenes they show.
Philadelphia, born. Oh, sorry, wrong franchise.
And if you listen to the music they play in the background, it sounds almost like Captain America's.
I know.
It's very similar. Like, I think that's cool. I think that's awesome. The fact that we're gonna have a Captain America, but he's like a douchey Captain America.
Yep.
And obviously something's gonna happen with him and Homelander. I think they're gonna face off to begin with. That's gonna be kind of cool just to see that dynamic, because there's one part where they say, hey, if this weapon killed Soldier Boy, which that's what they think he's dead or he's gone or whatever. They said he's almost as strong as Homelander. So I do like that, like it kind of pits them against each other, maybe.
Oh yeah, for sure. Also, Black Noir, we actually saw him as himself.
Normal face.
His normal face. He was very against wearing the mask.
Yeah.
That changed in Nicaragua later on. By the way, whoever that person was they cast as a young Stan Edgar, phenomenal.
Yeah.
He was fantastic as like a younger version of Giancarlo Esposito. Like the speech pattern, the mannerisms, like, oh my God, it was so believable.
The young Mallory was great too. She looked very much like if that actress was younger. It's very, they did a very good job with that.
Yeah, the casting, and that's again the boys overall casting, production, visuals, like the whole thing in itself has not disappointed me since the very first time I watched the introduction of season 1, episode 1. And that's what got me hooked. So thank you, Justin.
it's a bulletproof show. Just like Butcher in episode 2, how he's bulletproof. That's how the show is, honestly. They really haven't made any mistakes.
No, they really haven't. I mean, and people are going to be critical. I mean, they're going to say what they say about, I showed this to Justin earlier, George. It was a comment left on Amazon Prime. Someone saying about this Bolshevik garbage is just, you know, it's because it's so quote unquote left winged and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, people, like that Bolshevik comment actually got me. I thought that was hilarious. But
you know, something the boys does, even their social media accounts, if you look, they often
troll.
They troll those kind of comments and they promote that kind of negativity.
I know.
Like the negativity that the show gets, which is so weird, like is like these like people who are like review bombing this show. Like this show is honestly like one of the best shows ever. I mean, like it is.
Yeah.
And the people, their complaints are so silly. Like one person was like, yeah, this show's almost out of gas. And I'm like, what are you watching? Like this show's out of gas. Like what do you like? Because like
gas prices are high and all. I get that, but
this show is flying. Like they're like, I mean, like to make it sound like this show is like on its last legs or something. It's like, what do you mean? No. Like this is episode
Absolutely
19
not.
Of, you know, what could be 100. I mean, it won't be 100 episodes, but I mean, come on, this show's like, in its prime. It hasn't even started running fast yet. You know, it's like it's going from a steady walk to a slow jog. You know, like
I don't know. So, final thoughts on the first 3 episodes of season 3 of The Boys, y'all. George.
Honestly, was super fantastic. We got a lot happening. We got a lot to look forward to. My predictions so far, the whole and Soldier Boy thing, I think there's going to be a deeper thing that they go into, because Soldier Boy definitely had something to do with MM's family. And he's probably going to want to get revenge or see what happened, you know?
Yes.
That's my prediction. Soldier Boy, and then possibly fight Homelander in the future or team up together. And who knows? I have no idea.
Okay.
Butcher, I think he might want to keep staying a suit. That's my prediction for him. Homelander's going to lose his shit and probably murder a lot of people, because he's going to flip that switch and something's going to happen. Starlight and Huey, like, now that Homelander claimed her as his girlfriend, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how Starlight's going to react to that. Like, she's basically stuck. What is she going to do? As far as Frenchie and Kamiko with their storyline, I think that Nina lady, the little Nina or whatever.
Oh, the Russian lady, yeah.
The Russian lady is definitely going to play a part of it. She's going to come into the role and try. Frenchie's going to try and save Mon Chéri, or whatever her real name is.
Mon Chéri.
Who else am I missing?
Well, we need to bring back Maeve. See what?
Yeah, Maeve. You know. I don't know where her storyline's gonna go, but I'm sure Maeve. I could see Maeve like dying at the end of the season or something.
Oh no!
I just don't see where her storyline's gonna go. Like, her relationship's not there. I don't think they're really gonna explore it anymore. I'm not sure. Okay. Maybe the video leaks and her life gets like super shitty or something. A-Train, he's gonna start like doing more community shit, and we saw in the trailer there's the Kylie Jenner, like the Kendall Jenner Pepsi thing. Yeah. He's gonna do a remake of that, so I'm excited to see that. And I think that's for everybody. So those are my predictions of what's gonna happen. I'd love to hear you guys.
Man, there's too many in terms of predictions. I mean, I want to think that, or hope that if Soldier Boy were to kind of come into alliance with the boys, it's not going to be like another lamplighter situation. I do hope that there's a face-off between Soldier Boy. See, I keep saying Soldier Boy. Sorry, Soldier Boy. Sorry, okay. Like Yesenia pointed out, I'm from Houston, and there's going to be a face-off for sure. I will also predict a face-off between Butcher and Homelander, with Butcher having the V24, unless the side effect is it lasts much longer than 24 hours. Yeah. Who knows? It's what I will for sure say with confidence. This season's not going to disappoint. I'm here for it. I can't wait to see what unravels, especially with Soldier Boy coming into the mix, and what kind of fucked up shit is going to happen between him and Vought. If like Vought did him dirty, if Vought had him killed, let's say, you know what I mean? Like, cause Vaught's like at the top of everything, you know, they have a hand in everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was Vought that tried to like take him out, you know, and move forward with Homelander, because I don't think we even know how old Homelander is, like when he was created. Like,
well, I think he's like in his 30s or 40. It's kind of like what Superman's like always like about 35 or something. Like,
okay,
really
so
age.
So Soldier Boy got taken out at 84. Is Homelander born in 84? Like, you know, you see what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Like,
yeah. I think he's going to be an upgrade for Soldier Boy, but I wonder with Soldier Boy, you know, I think we all think that he's going to be a villain, what if he like comes back as like an anti-Vought guy, because of what happened to him, or
That's a
I don't
possibility.
know. I mean, look,
Maybe.
I think he's going to be like kind of a weapon. Maybe I think the boys learned that like the weapon to kill Homelander is what
Is
Soldier Boy has become,
mm,
not
Okay.
maybe
Okay.
necessarily Soldier Boy, because
That's a good one.
there's some
That's-
stuff
yeah.
in the trailer that I'm remembering where he had like this like light, like Soldier Boy had like this like beam of light coming from his
kind of
chest.
radiates out of him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's obviously nothing like Captain America. So it's a different kind of, they've added a new wrinkle to that character, and maybe he's been like, because he's in Russia, he's been contaminated with radiation or something, and he has this extra new power. They've
He's
turned
the
him into a
Hulk.
weapon.
Oh my god.
I don't know, but I do
Oh,
think
goodness.
that A-Train, I think A-Train is going to have kind of a face turn, meaning he'll be kind of a good guy, because I think that he's going to become involved in the community. And they showed us that Soup, who's like kind of a racist cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. I think maybe it was Nighthawk, or it was something Hawk.
Something-
I thought
Blue Hawk. Or
Blue
Blue
Hawk,
Hawk
yeah.
or something like
he, had
that.
he had like a blue name on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that we're going to see A-Train face off against that guy.
Yeah.
The Deep is back in the 7. I'm kind of interested to see like what is going to happen with that. Will he?
Oh,
Is
He's
he
gonna-
just
he's
going to
gonna-
be?
He's clearly gonna play the bitch because like
Yeah.
he's gonna
Yeah.
do whatever
Right.
Homelander says. That's why the Homelander let him on there, so he's definitely gonna
yeah.
do whatever he tells him.
And then the only prediction I feel really strong that I think is going to happen. I don't think Supersonic is long for this world.
Oh yeah.
I think
agree.
that Homelander, something's going to happen between the Homelander Starlight dynamic,
Yeah.
and either
Yep.
Supersonic is going to try to help her, or but he's
Yes.
going to be killed by Homelander.
Yep.
I would think so.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
that'd
agree.
That'd be fucked up.
Or he's gonna force her to kill him. Because she remember in season 2 when
right.
Homelander tried to force Starlight to kill Huey in the tunnels, and she
Yeah.
didn't, and he came after her in the elevator about that. he probably won't let her get away with it again. So
Yeah.
he's probably going to make her kill Supersonic, if that's, let's say, the storyline, how that goes. If anyone's going to be killed, it's going to be Supersonic, but Homelander's probably going to force Starlight to do it.
Jesus.
Because what leverage does she have on him at this point?
Yeah. That's true.
It's going to be a fucked up season. I'm here for it.
Same.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Brittany, before we get out of here, how can people find us on social media?
So you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search The Watchers in the Basement, or handle @Watchers Basement. It might be a variation on Twitter. Do want to give a shout out to Yesenia for joining us for today's live. We appreciate you being here. Always appreciate the support of our followers and subscribers. And also don't forget that you can talk about us by using #WatchersBasement on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so you can help grow our audience. We would love to have more followers. We're like, I think 35 subscribers away from reaching 100 subscribers here on YouTube. So that would be awesome if we can get to 100. Let's just say by the end of the year.
I
think
say
that's realistic.
How about a hundy by next Monday? How about that?
Oh, God.
Okay.
Goodness, you're
Or
ridiculous.
how about a hundy on a Monday? Let's just make it
On a
some Monday,
Monday.
right?
On Monday
Oh
later
my
this year.
gosh.
Yeah. It's
Either
Monday
way,
somewhere, right?
it's Monday somewhere. Either way, use #Watchers Basement when talking about the Watchers in the Basement. Let us know what you want us to review. We'll check it out. And last but not least, we also are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, thanks to Anchor.fm. Please be sure to give us a 5-star rating on those audio podcast platforms. We'd really appreciate it. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So Yenia says, shout out to the pup. Shout out to the pup.
Yes, Willie was running all over the camera. Sorry about that.
I know. Willie is awesome. We love Willie.
So okay, thanks, Brittany. So for Brittany and for George, Justin saying we'll see you next week. And by the way, Frank will join us next week. He's watching the episodes right now as we speak, so he'll be caught up. So next week we'll be back to talk about episode 4, and it's just one episode, so we can tackle one episode of the show. Three is too much. There's just too much to talk about, because I know if you're listening to this, we probably miss like 40% of the stuff, because
a lot.
I have page after page of note, but we just can't go through it and take like 7 hours. So anyway, we appreciate everybody for watching, listening. We'll be back next week to talk about episode 4. We'll see you then.
Bye, y'all.